All right, the rules of divisibility. So if you look at a number, the rule for number 2 is that if the number is an even number, it is divisible by 2. So that's pretty, easy enough. So we're going to look at the last number, and if that's an even number, then the entire number is even. So 2, I can do it this way. 2 goes into 13 6 times, and then we have 12, 14, and then we have 7, and then we have 6, and so that's going to be 3, and it goes into it evenly. Divide this by 2 as well. Let's see, maybe I can squeeze it in. This is going to be 1, 0, bring down the 1, 0, 2, and it is going to be 6. 106. So obviously this is an even number, this is an even number, it's divisible by 2. This is not an even number, so 2 will not be able to go into it evenly. Alright, that was an easy one. Let's get to something more difficult. Rule for number 3 is if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So if we take 1 plus 0 plus 3 plus 2, that's going to equal 6. We know that 6 is divisible by 3, so 1032 is divisible by 3. So let's do that really quick. That's 9, 1, 13, 4. Carry the 1 and another 4. Okay, and again 2 plus 4 plus 0 plus 6, that is going to equal 12, and this will be divisible by 3. You can take your calculator out and double check it. Don't want to make this video too long. And so if we look at this one, this is 1 plus 2 plus 4, that's going to equal 7, so this would not be divisible by 3. Alright, so all you do is add up the digits, and if that sum is divisible by 3, then this entire number, will be divisible by 3. All right, on to number 4. The rule for number 4, if the last 2 digits are divisible by 4. So this one's a fairly easy one too. So looking at the last 2 digits is 16. We know that 16 is divisible by 4. So if we did the math, and we put the 4 there, so we end up with 31, 7, 28, 36, and 9. Alright, so the last 2 digits, this one as well. I guess I can show you this one. Try to do it fast. Divide that by 4, we get 1, and we get 1, 24, 8, and that'll be 1. And so if we look at these last 2 digits, 18, 4 does not go into 18 evenly, so that would not be divisible by 4. If you doubt me, get your calculator out and give it a try. Number 5 is one we all know. I won't spend any time on this one. If it last digit ends in a 5 or a 0, then we know that it's divisible by 5, because when you count by 5s, it'll alternate between 5s and 0. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. All right, moving on. Number 6 isn't too bad either. It has a couple rules. If it's an even number, or if it's divisible by 2, and it is divisible by 3. So if it's an even number and is divisible by 3, then it's also divisible by 6, which kind of makes sense. And to remind you, the rule for 3 is if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So here we know this is an even number, so it's divisible by 2. And then if we add the digits, then that's going to be 9, 10, that's going to equal 12. So 6,312 should be divisible by 3. So if we did the math, just to keep me honest, just to show you that I'm not making this stuff up, and we get 1, and bring down the 4, another 1, 3, 12, and 4. And so if we added these two, this would be 4 plus 4 plus 1 equals 9. So this will also be divisible by 3. So 144 divisible by 3. That's going to be 24 and an 8. Okay, and so I give you another one to try, 122. And when we add this together, that's going to equal 5. So this should not be divisible by 3. All right, rule 7 is this is a little tricky. You double the last digit and then subtract that from the other digits. And if that number is divisible by 7, then the entire number is divisible by 7. So we take the last digit, that's 5. So 5 doubled equals 10. And then we subtract that from the remaining digits. So it would be 24 minus the 10, and then you get 14. And 14 is divisible by 7, so we know that 245 is also divisible by 7. Whoops, that should be a 5. 5. Hope you can read that. All right, 7, and that'll be 3, 21, 35, and 5. I'll show it to you again here. Double the last digit, and so 1 plus 1 is 2. So we take 37 minus the 2, that's 35, and 35 is divisible by 7, so 371 should be divisible by 7. So here's 371, divide that by 7, we have 5, 35, and 21 will leave us 3. And so for larger numbers, you would have to just repeat the process a couple of times if it's not apparent. So give it a couple goes, and you'll see that the rule does apply. All right, rule 8 is kind of tough because you just have to figure out if the last 3 digits is divisible by 8. And so you're going to have to do some math in your head. And so looking at 192 divisible by 8, and this is something you could probably do in your head. I'm looking at the 19, and I know that's, I'm sorry, my mistake. Let's go back one. Let's see. All right, 8 goes into the 19. We're going to say that's twice. That's 16, and then 32, and I know that's 4. So 8 will go into 192, and so I know that 8 will also go into 16,192. 192, and we'll do the math here just to keep honest. So this will be 2, 16, and 0, and then we already know that 192 is going to be 24. All right, so actually, there should be a 0 there. So give that one a try. This, in my opinion, is by far the most difficult rule because you have to kind of eyeball a 3-digit number and see if it's divisible by 8. And if here you can see probably 360 is obviously divisible by 8. So 3,360 is also divisible by 8. And then rule 9, last but not least, is one that I think most people are familiar with. If you add the sum of the digits, and those digits add up to 9, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then the entire number is divisible by 9. We divide that by 9, and we get 3, 27, 42, and we get 4, 36, 63, and we get 7. And if you're familiar with the rule, it can continue for the large numbers. So this would be 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 5 is 18. Okay, and then it continues because 1 plus 8 equals 9. So if it's an extremely long number, then you could go further and further down until you get to a number that's more reasonable. All right, this is by far my longest video. I hope it was helpful. I would go through it, maybe write down all of the rules. It's a great tool to memorize.